What's up, everyone? Welcome to another lovely episode of Variant Live. Now, first things first, as always, I'm just going to jump right into right into it, not waste any time. First thing we're going to talk about is My Hero Academia season 3. If you guys remember last week, we kind of switched gears a little bit, and we're like, okay, we're just gonna, you know, talk about Attack on Titan another time, maybe do an episode on that in the future, and then we're just going to shift to My Hero Academia season 3 because that's currently coming out every weekend. I believe it's like 6 or so episodes in, but anyway, we watched, or we're supposed to, you guys were supposed to watch along with me if you wanted to, that is, the first 2 episodes of My Hero Academia season 3 until we get caught up, which is going to be, I guess, pretty soon within the next couple weeks, and then we'll be currently watching one a week. Anyway, if you guys aren't watching it or you want to watch it and you don't know how to watch it, you could do that through Verve, VRV. If you sign up with us, you'll get a free 30-day ad-free trial. The link for that is going to be in the description below. If it's not in there currently, because I'm not sure if it is, it's just vrv.co/variant. That's vrv.co/variant. So if you want to watch it along and you don't know how, that's an easy way to do it. 30 days free, ad free on top of that. Anyway, My Hero Academia season 3, as you guys know, this anime has become one of my new favorite animes. I absolutely love it. It's just a fun hero anime. It's funny, it's got tons of action, the characters are great. And this picks up right away. So basically, they're going into summer for season 3. They're like doing summer training as not to, like, lose everything they've learned over the past year and stuff at My Hero Academia. The first episode is pretty much almost kind of like a recap episode. So as for the first 2 episodes in general, not much happens. Like, again, the first episode is a recap. You kind of see Deku is like bigger now. He's kind of thicker. He used to be small and scrawny. He's still not like massive, but you can see he definitely got way more toned. They've bulked him up a bit more because he's kind of he hasn't fully learned how to control one for all, but he's definitely learned how to control it a lot better, or at least without breaking his finger or his arms all the time, unless he's going all out. He calls out all the time. He's like 20% or blah blah or 50%. Like, he decides how much power he wants to use, but he can pretty much use it now without breaking his finger like he always did in the first 2 seasons. With that said, that reminds me, there's going to be spoilers galore. That should be obvious, saying I'm going to talk about season 3, but there's going to be spoilers for possibly the first 2 seasons, and then obviously the 2 episodes we're talking about. So I just want to get that out of the way before I get any crazy, I mentioned any crazy things from the past or this episode. Spoilers galore for My Hero Academia season 3. So if you haven't watched it yet, just pause it or come back later when you could fast forward and when this is just a posted video and it's not live, and then you could just skip me talking about My Hero Academia. With that warning out of the way, uh, yeah, he's pretty much learned how to control his power, but um, they're basically training towards the summer, which leads or during the summer, which leads to the second episode where they're going on a camp trip essentially to learn how to use their powers. They find these new heroes, these girl cat themed heroes. I forget the names are escaping me right now because I've only seen them once in the episode, but it's basically they're these kind of funny, eccentric, feline esque heroes that are training them, and they have to fight in order to get to their camp where they're going to be staying for the summer. They have to fight their way through this forest of monsters that one of the heroes makes to kind of learn how to use their powers and defeat them. And they're like, oh, this will take you like a few hours. But turns out it doesn't. It takes them almost all day. And by the time they're there, they're starving and whatnot, and they're eating. And then basically the whole premise of the episode during this is we find out, like, this whole lead up for this second episode, because the first episode was kind of just a recap. It's like, here's everyone, this is what they look like now, this is what they're doing, this is what the season's gonna be about. It's gonna be about them learning how to use their powers and train during the summer and all that stuff. And then at the end of the second episode, we're left with the teacher telling I believe his name is Eraser, his hero name is Eraser, saying, we're gonna teach you how to use your powers. He goes, because the first year was basically all about how to use, like, training them kind of like mentally and learning like all the stuff, like the book smart stuff you need to know about being a hero and stuff. This season seems like it's going to be about just full on how to make your power stronger. Like, so they're basically going to be pushing them to the limit, making them learn essentially how to make their power the strongest they could be. And that's where we're left at the end of episode 2. Very good so far. My Hero Academia stuff. If you love the first 2 seasons, you like this. Although I will say the first episode, again, it's kind of slow. It's kind of like this is where everyone's at now. Second episode does pick up, and second episode is kind of what sets the tone, it seems, for the rest of the season. There's going to be like 20 something episodes. This was only the second episode, and there's actually, I believe, like 4 episodes after that that is currently up on Verve. Because again, this is coming out weekly right now. I believe it's every Saturday. I want to say could be Sunday. I'm pretty sure it's every Saturday. Comes out every weekend. Let's just say that. That way, I'm not technically wrong. But it comes out every weekend. For next week, we're gonna watch the next 2 episodes, episodes 3 and 4, and then I believe after another week of doing that, we'll be current and they'll be watching one a week. But with that said, let's talk about Batman Ninja because that is what is in the title of this episode, or one of the things that's in the title of this episode. A lot of you guys were asking me last week, Arris, Batman Ninja, talk about Batman Ninja. What did you think about Batman Ninja? And I was like, hey, I'll talk about it next week. Guess what? It's next week. So I watched it, and well, I bought it and I watched it. And my thoughts in general is it was very much okay. Like I did not I don't even know if I would say I liked it. I don't think I did like it. I'm kind it was all over the place for me. Like the animation was beautiful. The Of course, like the way it was drawn, and again, just the animation in general it looked really good. Visually, it looked cool. But I mean, and the concept is a cool concept too. Like it started off pretty. Again, before I get into that too, I forgot to say there's gonna be spoilers. Spoiler. There's no way I could talk about it because like I can't even really explain what I watched in a sense, which is one of my complaints. But with that said, there's gonna be spoilers. So spoilers galore for Batman Ninja. You're gonna get all my thoughts. So if you haven't seen it, that's your warning. Um, yeah. Uh, so the premise is basically Grodd makes a time machine, right? And then Batman's trying to stop it from going off. In doing so, he doesn't stop it from going off. He gets teleported to old school Japan. Japan, like I'm not exactly sure how many years ago. I think it's like 2,000 years ago. It's a long time ago in the past from Japan. And not only does Batman get teleported there, but so does like the Penguin, Catwoman, Harley Quinn, Joker, Two Face, and Poison Ivy. Uh, but the catch with that is Batman, even though it kind of happened like at the same time, Batman gets there 2 years after the Joker and Penguin and Two Face and Catwoman and Poison Ivy. So I'm I guess with a time delay, like because they were closer to it, I guess they got there first, but because of like how I guess time travel works, he ended up getting there 2 years later because he was just a few seconds after the fact. Anyway, so because of that, they've already started to like display phone in the background. Sorry about that. Because of that, um, the all of Batman's enemies, like the Penguin, the Joker, and all of them, have already started to take over parts of Japan. Like they all have their little sector. Like the Penguin is taking over this part of Japan. Poison Ivy's taking part of that Japan. Joker's taking over part of this Japan, and so on and so forth. So Batman has to try to stop and bring it down because basically all of Batman's villains are doing this because they want to change the course of history by being the lord or ruler of Japan. Sorry, allergies are crazy. And that way they would take over Japan and change the course of history and be kings and lords of said Japan. That's like the kind of the overall premise. The problem with that is this movie, in my opinion, goes all over the place. So like it's just really like trippy. Now, given anime is kind of trippy. Like it's weird a lot of times, and that's why I like it, and I'm sure a lot of you like it. But then there's like the times where, at least for me, I'm just like, okay, you just gone too far. Like I don't know what's happening. So like it goes from like the first fight where Batman's fighting the Joker, which is like, okay, it's cool, it's fighting the Joker anime style. Yes, this is what I signed up for. To like Lord Joker's house or like temple, whatever you want to call it, literally turning into like a transformer robot thing. And his not he doesn't have the only house that can do that. Like literally the Penguin and Two Face and Poison Ivy, like all their houses or places, their castles, whatever you want to call it, where they stay, turn into these Transformer Voltron Megazord things, and they fight, and Batman has to fight them. And it's just like I honestly can't really explain to you like the plot like clearly because I honestly didn't get it fully. I kind of got to the point. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I kind of got like once like this I guess halfway or three quarters of the way through. I kind of started zoning out because I found myself like unfortunately not being interested. Like it wasn't entertaining me, and that sucks because you guys know Batman's my favorite superhero, and I love anime. So when you put the two together, you would think like, yes, this is gonna be amazing. But it was honestly a letdown for me. Like there was, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of cool scenes. Like there's a part like, oh, so a big part of it too, during all this is there's this clan that like worship the bat, right? And obviously when Batman comes and they see Batman, they're like, "Oh, you're the the godsend we've been waiting for. You're him. You're like the Bat Lord, the Bat King. That's you." So they kind of like worship him and like they help him fight like the Joker and all them throughout. But and then towards the end when Batman goes like full ninja with the final boss fight with the Joker, um he starts like disappearing into bats and like flying and like fighting and stuff, which was, so that was really cool. It was part of the animation. Like the fight scenes were cool. It was just like it was like really weird. And then there was this part, if you guys have seen it, like where so like halfway through, Batman like defeats the Joker and Harley Quinn, right? Like on like this big cruise battleship thing, or you think he does. But it turns out that the Joker actually just like made himself, I guess, or accidentally or made himself, I don't honestly don't remember. But anyway, he loses his memory, but the animation switches from the normal animation and there's like the transition. I think that's one of my biggest gripes with the movie. Like the transitions, at least for me, and I was even talking to my friend about it, weren't very clear. Like they kind of just switched, and you're like, okay, so what's this? Why are we here? And with this particular one, so you think he defeats the Joker, and then totally we get thrown to the Red Hood, right? Like we see the Red Hood, and he's mentioned earlier in the movie, but you don't see him, and it's a different animation style too. It switches the animation style, and then you see him talking or like persecuting or like interrogating, is I guess interrogating is the right word, like this older man and this woman, and it's we find out it's the cured Harley Quinn and Joker, and it's just really weird, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you, yeah, what you did to me or what you did to them, and you're Joker," and yeah, and obviously Red Hood has like a big vendetta with Joker because of the whole thing. If you guys, Batman and the Red Hood, so that, and then Batman finally shows up and he looks in the Joker's eyes. He's like, "No, this guy isn't the Joker, or at least he's not anymore." You can always tell by looking at the Joker's eyes. Like, okay, I mean, I guess fair enough. Batman would know, right? And then like they go away and they leave them alone because he's like he's cured. He's like, I know if you would be faking or not because he's my arch enemy, not yours. So that happens, and then it cuts to like you see as they walk away, it pans back to like because Red Hood beat the crap out of them. By the way, he's like kicking them, beating them to like a bloody pulp before Batman gets there. Anyway, he's like holding his wife Harley Quinn, and she's like, "Oh no, I can't believe you did that." But then he's like slowly pans up, and you see like the grin coming back, and then he's that they are actually indeed still the Joker and Harley Quinn, and you're like, "Oh my god, they were faking it." We find out later, like I said a little bit ago, that he made himself forget on purpose that he was a Joker and Harley Quinn. And it's like fine, like it's not like the worst like story or whatever in the world. It's like cool. It wasn't even like the plot for that was cool. Like that's worked. It wasn't. I don't even have a problem with the actual like plot of it. It was just the way they did it. Like the transitions was weird. The switch to animation. Like I didn't know what I was watching for like a good like 2-3 minutes of it. It was just weird, which isn't normally wouldn't be a big deal because comics and movies start like that all the time where you're just thrown into a scene and you don't know what that's happening, but they explain it later. And they did that with this, but the way they did it was just very off-putting. Like I don't know. I personally didn't think it was executed well. So yeah. So overall, my thoughts, Batman Ninja, it was very much okay. It was one of those movies where like I'm glad I watched it because I'm always would be curious to what it's about. But I don't think I'd ever watch it again, unfortunately. So, like, if you're a Batman fan, I would still say watch it just because A, you might not agree with me. You might have completely different opinion. And B, even if you have the same opinion as me, it's still kind of nice to see like, what they did. At least for me, I would watch it either way just because I like to know, like curiosity basically. I'm like, it's Batman and it's anime. I need to know. I need to know from my own self. Like I don't like taking other people's opinion. Like I do, but it's like I just personally want to know. So like if you're a big Batman fan with me, still watch it, see what you think. I wouldn't say buy it. Don't buy it. Rent it. Rent it that way you're not spending like $20 on it. I would say rent it for like $3-4 or whatever, and then if you love it, buy it. Uh, but yeah, it was very much okay and kind of a letdown for me. So that kind of sucks. The next one I believe is the next DC animated movie is the Superman one on his death, one based off Superman's death. So hopefully that is great. Because I also the Suicide Squad movie before this too also was kind of a letdown for me as well. But I did love Batman Gotham by Gaslight. That one was freaking very, very good, and the twist was awesome. Okay, moving on though, because there's lots of stuff to talk about. I do want to mention Infinity War yet again, just because it's at number 5 for the biggest movie of all time. At the time of shooting this video, it's just over 1.6 billion dollars worldwide. That's insane, and the China numbers aren't even, because I know it opened in China this past weekend, but the China numbers aren't even in. So this is well on its way to be a $2 billion movie worldwide. I think I would say, me just spitballing here, I would think at this rate, it's probably like in the end, I would imagine it's gonna land like probably just under Avatar, which has the number one spot. So I think it might dethrone Titanic or The Force Awakens as well and be number 3 or 2. But I'm not positive it's going to dethrone Avatar, because Avatar is at 2.7 billion. That's where it ended. And where, as of now, the movie has to make another 1.1 billion dollars. Not impossible. The problem is Deadpool 2 is coming out this weekend, and then the following weekend, Solo a Star Wars story is coming out. So I think that's going to slow it down a lot, because everyone's by now has already seen Infinity War like 2 3 times, so they're going to want to be shifting, to watching Deadpool 2 and a Star Wars Solo a Star Wars story, and then Jurassic World comes out. So there's not I don't think there's a big enough gap for it to. I mean, it could. I could be wrong. I hope it does. I want this to dethrone Avatar so much. So my hopes are that it does. I just am not confident that it is. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that real quick, because that's that's pretty freaking crazy. Sticking with Marvel though, guess what, guys? Inhumans, the show. Remember that show? It's canceled. Is that a big shocker? So I'm going on checking the news websites and stuff, and like one of the headlines was Inhumans season 2 canceled, and I just started laughing. Like literally, I just read the headline aloud and just started laughing. So I'm like, yeah, like like I thought everyone knew that like forever ago. Like like wasn't that obvious? Like everyone unanimously hated that show. I'm sure there's people who liked it, and it's fine if you liked it, but a general consensus was everyone did not like that show, and they cut the hair off Medusa. Like they shaved Medusa's head, like in like the second episode. Like what? Why? That's like literally making a Wolverine TV show and declawing him in the second episode. Like that's what the character is about. Like that's the character. Like that makes no freaking sense. I don't know. Clearly they couldn't afford the CGI for a hair or something, but then if you couldn't afford it, why are you making the show? Just, put it to the side until the MCU wants to make it into a movie like they originally wanted to do. So yeah, that's a little that's a little bit a little tidbit for you. Um After that, let's go to some DC stuff for a bit. We got a little bit of DC news. So first of all, this week, or this weekend rather, we've got a sneak peek concept art of Young Justice Outsiders. As you guys know, Young Justice is one of my favorite cartoon series of all time. I know it's one of your favorites. It was canceled. Season 2 was canceled, and us fans wanted it so bad and was nagging DC and Warner Brothers for so many years that they finally brought it back, and it's going to be on the DC Universe app later this fall. But let's see. I think I could show you guys. I'm pretty sure. Yes, I can show you guys um, a picture of it for those of you who have not seen it. So let's pull that up. Da, 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 da. Do, 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 do. Let me get the picture and bring it over. There we go. As you can see, we have Katana here. We got freaking Metamorpho. We got Superboy in the back. Uh, what do we got? Nightwing. Bunch of new characters. It looks awesome. The art is very much just the original, just a little bit updated, better animation style and all that stuff. And I can't wait for the show. And as you can see on the lower right hand corner, it says only on DC Universe, which is very cool. So, I mean, they're pumping out so much stuff, like, they're almost making every DC fan get this with all the stuff that they're gonna be putting on the streaming app. But yeah, I mean, I just want a teaser trailer for it for season 3, because we've got this is the second image I believe we've got for the show thus far. There was one that they released a while ago, but it's like, I just want a teaser. Like, I'm pretty sure they would have to have done at least have half the season shot, and done by now if it's releasing in fall, because you're not going to do it that last second unless you're South Park. But it just looks awesome, and I can't wait to see it. I'm just very curious to see like how it picks up, because as you guys know, season two, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it was a big cliffhanger. So I'm curious to see how that is fixed and what has happened, because it's a time jump. I forget exactly how big the time jump is, but I think it's like a 5 year. I want to say 5 years. Don't quote me on that. But for now, I'm going to say 5 years. But again, don't quote me on that. But it is a several year time jump from season two, just like season one had a time jump to season two. So I'm very curious. And the concept of the series is, metahuman trafficking, kind of taking a spin on the sex trafficking thing, but, with metahumans as they're selling metahumans as slaves and stuff like that. So I'm very, very curious. The animation looks good. We're gonna have an older Nightwing. We're gonna have Katana in here. I believe they said Red Hood is gonna be in the show. We're gonna get Beast Boy back. You guys, you could see in there Metamorpho's there. Katana's in there. Uh, just yes, all that stuff. And Superboy's back and all that. So all the original cast, and then a bunch of new characters. So I'm very excited for that. But staying in the DC world, to kind of bring it down a bit, don't mean to, but Margot Kidder, who played Lois Lane in the original Superman films with Christopher Reeves, has passed away this past weekend. Unfortunately, she was 69. At this time, we don't know why or how she passed, but I just want to give my condolences out to her family and her loved ones, because that is definitely a loss for in the film community and in just the comic community. I mean, the Superman Reeves films are some of the most iconic superhero movies ever. I mean, that you could argue or just say that set, the path for, obviously the Tim Burton Batman films. And then, we'd eventually get like the Blade films, and then the MCU, and then the DCEU. Like that kind of set the stage, or did set the stage for all the superhero movies after it. So to lose, one of the biggest parts of that Superman franchise is definitely, a loss. So again, I just want to give my condolences to our loved ones and families. But with that said, let's bring it back up a little bit. I just want to take a second and, mention that and give her some time, some spotlight. But let's see. Star Wars live action series. That's another thing that's happening. If you guys don't know, we're getting a Star Wars live action series, but we just learned this weekend that it's going to be set 7 years after Return of the Jedi. Yes, 7 years after Return of the Jedi. So that means it's in between Return of the Jedi and the Force Awakens. So one would assume, you would think, the series with that little knowledge, the series is going to follow the transition of, you will probably follow characters like Poe Dameron, maybe even Ray, Finn, all those new characters. You would think it's going to follow that, or see what happened to lead up to those characters, and see the transition from uh the why is it escaping me? Tim, help me out. What is escaping me here? Tim, Tim, Tim. My producer doesn't hear me. He's got headphones on. Hey Tim. Hey Tim. Uh, there he is. Hi. First Order, right? That's the new thing. First Order's a new thing. Why can't I remember what they were originally called in the original trilogy? The Empire. Wow. There we are. And we're back. I totally had a brain fart. It's basically like I forgot like what the Sith were called. Essentially, that's how obvious that was. But here we are. Anyway, with that brain fart out of the way, yes, we might see in the Star Wars series how the Empire transitioned into becoming the First Order. So that could be really cool if that. I mean, because they don't really explain that too much in the new movies, so that would be really cool if this explains that. I know they do touch on some of that stuff in the Marvel Star Wars comic books, but to have it touched in this live action Star Wars series would be fantastic. So that'd be cool. So yeah, now that with that said, now that I got refreshed what the Empire is, because I don't know why that escaped me, but moving on, moving on. The DC Universe app, I forgot to mention real quick. I kind of jumped out of it and went to Star Wars because I was excited, but I do want to mention that the DC Universe app is also going to have an original show, Doom Patrol. That's right. We're getting a Doom Patrol series on the DC Universe app. So they've just been like announcing shows left and right. So we're gonna have Titans, we're gonna have Swamp Thing, now we're gonna have Doom Patrol, a Harley Quinn show. Like it's just Young Justice, Outsiders. Like they've kind of just been like throwing them out there. So like they're probably going to launch. I say by the time the app launches, they're probably going to have like 10 original shows, and then one would hope they would put a backlog of all their other shows on there as well, which would be really really cool. But that's the last little bit of info or news I'm going to talk about uh for today. But with that said, I'm going to open up to some Q&A. Q&A right there. All right, so let's see. Is the DC Universe app free? No, it's definitely not gonna be free. They don't have a price on it though, unfortunately, which sucks. One would assume it's gonna be anywhere from like $7 to $10. I am totally spitballing there. I would just guess like Hulu and Netflix, it's gonna live in that ballpark. Especially, they might even do something where you would get like an ad-free one where like you can get the $7 one, but if you want it with no ads, that's gonna be $10. So they might do something like that. But I'm totally just spitballing right there. William Volk, Venom trailer, please. I believe I talked about that in the past, but I did like it. The newest trailer, or the only trailer, I guess, because it's a teaser and then there's a trailer. Venom looks cool. I love how Tom Hardy's kind of doing the whole schizo thing, playing the two sides with the Venom, with the symbiote, or symbiotes in his head. The Venom symbiote in his head. I think he looks really cool. I mean, definitely looks infinitely better than Topher Grace as Venom in Spider-Man 3. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I kinda like the darker tone it's going for it, but I will say with that said, I'm kinda sad that we won't see Venom in the MCU. Like, I wish this Venom. I know that people are saying this is in the MCU, or there's been rumors where it is, but Kevin Feige came out. There's actually a really awkward interview with the producer of the Venom movie, and then Kevin Feige, they're, like, sitting right next to each other, and she's like, "Yeah, this does live within the MCU," and he's kinda like, you can see like I was like, what is she talking about? It's not in the same universe. So I would say Kevin Feige, the master of the MCU, the god of the MCU, if he's doing that, making that kind of face, no, it's not in the MCU. But the trailer looks cool. I like the darker tone. I love Venom. I love Tom Hardy. So I'm gonna see it when it comes out, and I'll review it and give you guys my thoughts. And I think it looks really good. I especially love how Venom looks. The CGI looks really great, and I love how they kind of with his tongue. I don't know if you guys saw him, but like they put like kind of like not like tendril, but really cool texture on the back of his tongue, which is really creepy. Like almost like his tongue itself has teeth, and it's really creepy and cool. But I'm excited for it. So let's see. Christian Rodriguez. You should do bios on the new on the new Young Justice characters. Yes, I'm sure when it comes out, I'll talk more about characters from the show, especially newer ones. Maybe do like an origin of Beast Boy, especially since he's going to be in Young Justice and also in the Titan show. Um, yeah, but pretty much all the characters. I think Red Robin's in there, Red Hood, History of Red Hood still on the docket. So stuff like that is definitely gonna come out, and these shows and all that stuff is only gonna encourage me to talk about that stuff more since it's gonna be in the spotlight, and you guys are gonna want me to talk about it since you're gonna be watching them in the shows. So yeah, once all these shows start coming out, sorry, allergies are killing me. That's what um that's what I will be talking about. Kind of just like whenever uh a movie comes out, like Deadpool 2 is coming out. You guys have been getting tons of Deadpool themed episodes. Like this week's gonna you guys are gonna get a history of X Force. I've already done an origin of Domino, history of Cable. So usually when movies and TV shows comes out, you could bank that's when you're gonna get episodes themed around the characters of those shows and movies, because that's when you guys want them, and I'm here to please. All right, let's see. Do you hope Venom will be PG-13 or R? I honestly don't care. I mean, it's not like like I'm like I hope it's R, I hope it's PG-13. I don't care. I'll see it either way. As long as it's a good movie, that's all I care about. So I really have no preference, because I know R. You're probably asking, like, if it's R, you could curse in it. There could be more violence, there could be more blood. Yeah, that's cool. But I feel like that would suit more a Carnage movie, because Carnage is like freaking crazy, or Venom is crazy, but he's more of like, especially like once you get deep into Venom, he's more of an anti-hero than a villain per se. So like if it was a Carnage movie, I'd probably say yeah R. For Venom, like either or. Don't really care. Not gonna affect me. All right. Irving Gomez. That would you like that live shows in the DC app tied to the DCU? Oh, so I guess you're asking, would I like if the live action shows in the DC Universe app were tied to the DCEU? No. One, because the DCU needs to get their crap together first before anything's tied to that, because their continuity is all convoluted. So I want the DCEU to get right and good and running on its own before they dive into anything else off the screen. Because again, I've said it a million times. There's lots of good moments in their movies, and some of the movies like Wonder Woman are really good, but overall, it's unfortunate. Like I like Justice League, and I said it all the time. I like Justice League the first time around. Second time around, saw a lot more problems. I think the fanboy and me, being honest, she's like, "Yeah, Flash, yes, Aquaman, yes," and then I'm like, Flash runs weird. That doesn't flow. Aquaman was actually probably the coolest part of that movie. Okay, no, I'm going to answer a few more questions, and then I'm going to wrap this up. Let's see. Keith Snyder, do you like the look of the new TMT cartoon? No. No, I do not. Hold on. I need to drink some water. Ugh. Man. Woo. Texas allergies. Pollen in the air. All right. No, I do not like the look of the TMNT characters. I think it looks, I know it's super stylized, but I liked the TMNT cartoon before it, even though that was stylized. But this one's like really super overly stylized. I don't have a problem with stylization. That could actually be really cool. I'm just not a fan of this particular style. So I don't know if you're asking because you do like it or you don't like it, but I am not a fan of the animation style, unfortunately. Now I'm not saying the show's not going to be good because the story and writing could still be cool. I'm just not a fan visually of what I've seen thus far. Keith Snyder. He said, "Yeah, me either." Okay, so you agree with me. Cool. Let's see. Let's see here. George Page, Jimmy Spawn might be the next Spawn. I know. That was the main topic of last week's Variant Live. So there you go. Thoughts on the new Venom movie. If you rewind this like 1 minute, you'll hear my thoughts on the new Venom trailer. Justin Sanders, favorite MCU movie. Okay, so believe it or not, I have still only seen Infinity War once, right? Freaking crazy. I know. You would think I would have seen it like 4 times by now. So yeah, and the only time I saw it was when I went to the premiere. So I technically haven't seen it in a normal theater yet. I will probably next weekend actually. But with that said, I can't say Infinity War is my number one movie because I want to see it twice before I make that statement. So only because I haven't seen it a second time yet, I'm still gonna say that Civil War is my favorite MCU movie. But with the caveat that I'm pretty sure if I see it a second time and I think it's just as good the second time around, which I'm pretty sure it's gonna be, Infinity War would be my number one movie. But as of now, since I've only seen it once, Civil War, with the caveat that I need to see it a second time. All right. All right. Dennis Williams. Tim Drake was in the last season. Yes, he was. I was just recent. So was like Nightwing and Beast Boy. I was just stating that he's going to be in the season again, not that he was a new character. So yeah, there's that. Alex, do you still watch Power Rangers? I do not. I fell off actually pretty early. I fell off around Turbo. So what was it? Mighty Morphin. Then they went to like the Ninja thing. Then you got like the Alien Rangers. Then they got Zeo, and then I believe it went to Turbo after that, and that's when I fell off. Like around the second movie came out, the Turbo movie, that's where I shortly after that I fell off. So I haven't even watched like any because my generation is Mighty Morphin. So even a lot of you guys who are like 16 and 17, your generation was probably like I don't know, like Dino Thunder and all that stuff. That was probably like your Mighty Morphin. But I'm with OG crew, like the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the ones that the boom books and everything are based off of. Okay, one more question, and then we are going to wrap this up. Okay. What do you think of the Justice League No Justice comic? I'm actually going to say that for next week. I wanted to wait. I know the first issue is already out, but I wanted to wait for 2 issues in to be halfway through the series to talk about it because I figured it's a 4-issue miniseries. Wait for the first 2 issues, then we'll wrap it up, wait another 2 weeks, and talk about the second 2 issues and then talk about it as a whole. So before I give my thoughts on that, which are good things, I'm going to wait until next week for issue 2 to come out, and then I will talk about Justice League No Justice. But there's some cool aspects to it, like maybe a Steel Force as opposed to a Speed Force. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, that I'll talk about that next week once we're halfway through, and then wrap up 2 weeks after that with the whole story. Might even talk about that on an actual episode if it still holds up as good as it is. Maybe we'll do like a Saturday episode on the miniseries as a whole if you guys want that. Let me know in here if you guys would want an actual episode of summarizing uh Justice League No Justice, because it is going to set the stage for a lot of new things in DC going forward. But with that said, guys, remember, if you want to watch a Verve, oh, I can't. Speaking of Verve, I should have said this in the freaking beginning. Freakazoid. Freakazoid is Freakazoid is now streaming. The entirety of Freakazoid is now streaming on Verve. Now, I know a lot of you younger cats out there maybe like, what the freak is Freakazoid, Arris? Well, it's a Steven Spielberg cartoon, kind of like Animaniacs and all that stuff. It's basically like his version of a superhero. So he's basically it's like the 16-year-old kid who's a nerd, becomes a superhero. It's just hilarious. It's just go on Verve, look it up, or before you, if you don't want to do that, like Google or YouTube a clip first. It was one of my favorite shows as a kid. Like it's just a brilliant concept. He's a superhero. It's an original concept. It's funny. It's great. If you like Tiny Toons or like Animaniacs or like any of the stuff, or Pinky and the Brain, any of the stuff from that era, it's literally like that animation style and that tone, but with a superhero. Like Freaky You, Freaky Me. Like the theme song alone is like amazing. So, but I know there's a lot of people who are around my age. If you want to watch Freakazoid, just click the Verve link in the description. You'll have 30 days of ad-free content to do so. You have 30 days to watch it for the all 2 seasons, and then you probably just keep it after that because they have lots of cool stuff on there. Because literally, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. I know it's kind of gross. I was in the bathroom, sitting there, pulled up the Verve app, and just went Freakazoid, and then I tweeted it right then and there. So I'm gonna leave you guys with that. But remember to watch the next 2 episodes of My Hero Academia season 3. That's going to be episodes 3 and 4. We'll recap next week and then maybe even talk about Freakazoid again. I don't know. I just really love that show. But until next week, guys, later.